Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me here this evening, a little bit past 6 p.m. Usually it's 7 p.m., I know. This time, a little past 6 p.m. on the East Coast. And I have a very interesting show this evening. And I want to talk about somebody. I have a guest here today that I want to talk about who is, I would say, not your typical candidate. That's how I would say it. Not your typical candidate. And hopefully she is going to explain some reasons why she's doing what she's doing and how she's trying to make things happen. She is running for corporate commissioner in Arizona, the one and only Christy Kelly. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Larry?
I'm doing wonderful. My question I have for you, I think, is, right, someone like you are an entrepreneur. In theory, you should just be off making money, right? That's what you should be doing, go off making money. But now you're sitting here taking on a statewide task. I mean, this is a task you're taking on, a statewide run in Arizona and getting into the political field. Why?
Well, I've always wanted to go into politics. I wanted to go into politics since like junior high. But
Okay.
I'll tell you really quick, I had a daughter really young. So I have a pro-life story where I had my baby my junior year of high school. Married the father after we graduated, took her on my back with me. We went to the university. That marriage only lasted 2 years. We were young, but she graduated at the top of her class in high school
Nice.
here in Phoenix and got a full ride to ASU. So I always like to tell that story because a lot of women think when they get pregnant that they don't have a choice and there are
Right. Sure.
options and you can make it. Now I had a lot of support, but you can make it. So I say that to say, I've had children. Now I have 3 girls. And I just didn't feel like politics and having a career and being a mother. I didn't feel like those 3 things went together at all.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
I
That
put
makes sense.
politics on the back burner until my girls were older. So now that, one is 30, 14, 17, I'm at a place where I've had my career and now I can focus on politics.
I remember an executive coach from years ago. She told me something. She said someone told her this. She said that women can have it all, just not at the same time, right? So you gotta figure out when it's going to work in your life. When it's going to be kids first, kids last, kids middle, right? When each is going to happen. So you've decided that, all right, I did that part of my life. This is a second part of my life now.
Right. Not to knock any mothers who are in politics with
Sure.
young children. It just wasn't for me. I've homeschooled for a while. I've had the benefit
Oh,
of
that's challenging. It
right. And I've
is.
had the benefit of having my own business for about 16 years. So there's been times when my children have needed me, I've been able to work less. And then, when they've been okay, that I've been able to work more. So I like that flexibility.
That is great. But so now with that,
Yes.
let me move to the next piece, right? I look at what you produce, what you put out, your content, who you're with, who you're shaking hands with, what babies you're kissing, right? The political stuff. And it's pretty diverse. I mean, right? It's, I know it. It's diverse. There's people of all backgrounds, shapes and sizes and colors who are giving you, shaking your hand and holding the sign, all that stuff. But you are not for DEI. And to be forward with you, as a Black woman in America, most Black women in America are absolutely for DEI. You're not following that mold either. Why?
I think I went down the whole rabbit hole of the whole ESG agenda and the DEI.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you follow it and if you really study it, a lot of corporations are paying lip service to DEI initiatives or to Green New Deal initiatives, ESG initiatives, but they're not really moving the needle forward, right? So it doesn't benefit us to hold on to it when it's not showing in the numbers that it's working. It's allowing corporations to say, yes, we have a diversity program, or yes, we have, a commitment to the Green New Deal, when in
Right.
actuality, they're only doing it for their social credit score, which is the environmental social justice, to get better funding.
And so to be clear, you think that they're doing it just to get the funding, which I know people have spoken of before, it's true, and then it's not actually having any kind of impact anyway.
No. I think there's better ways to get where we need to go if we aren't there already.
if we aren't there already. And that's a controversial piece because a lot of people say, no, Christy, it's the same as slavery. Like nothing's changed, right? You hear that. I know you're joking, but you know what I'm talking about. I hear it. I hear people when I say, well, it's better than when my father was around, right? I say that. I'm not saying it's perfect. I mean,
Right.
America will never be perfect, obviously, right? So I'm not saying perfection. But if I look at when my father was around, my father passed many years ago, but it was way worse when my father was around than for me. And I think you'd probably say the same with your family. Your parents, I'm sure, was worse for them than it was for you. How do you handle that when someone tells you that you're crazy when you say that?
I'll say, look at what I've done. So, for instance, one of the things I did is I saw the need with fathers, and this is
Okay.
fathers across the board. This is, whether they be, it's more of an economics issue, I think, when I dealt with fathers. So, I should say to start off with, I'm a mediator. So, I mediate and I arbitrate
Okay.
cases. That's what I do for a living. And when I sat down to mediate these cases, I saw a disparity in a lot of the dads that I was dealing with, right? Or dads being absent, dads walking away, mothers wanting to, reel fathers back into the picture after there's been a breakup. So what I started was a father's rights program, a nonprofit that
Okay.
specializes in father's rights, because we know whether it's, across the board, right? But mostly our urban dads are having an issue, but fatherless across the board is a problem.
Right.
So instead of looking for, a government program per se to help, with a family issue, I started a nonprofit because that's the area
Mm.
where I felt that I was led to make a difference. And so through that, I was able to impact, certain fathers in my demographic to have a
So
bigger impact on their children's life.
let me touch that piece if I could. So when someone says, hey, everything's terrible or whatever, you say, well, I'm not going to sit here and fight you. And I've done something. I have done stuff. Here's my results. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Okay.
instead of looking to the government or what, the government can do or what some rule could do. I mean, as a libertarian, I know this resonates with you,
It
what
does.
what can we do with our individual skills and talents that we have to help the need? I mean, first step is taking care of your household. Then
Sure.
can you help impact your neighborhood? And then can you help, broaden it out from there? That's really been my philosophy.
So it's funny. Michael Voss is watching. He goes by no sound bites allowed. He says, I like that in Arizona for a corporation commission, write-ins make it to the ballot and have won in the past. Are you a write-in or are you on the
I
ballot?
am not a write-in, and they do actually have a spoiler provision, so I wouldn't be able to go as a
Ah,
write-in,
got
but
it.
he is right. The chairman right now, he is there for a write-in campaign, but that was one of the
Got it.
rare occasions that all the conservatives linked arms and actually got him over the hump and got him in.
Got it. He goes on to say, hello, Christy and Larry. I like her platform. Very market driven. Does she support nuclear as well as oil and gas? Let me walk down that road real fast before you answer that question.
Yep.
This piece I also was interesting. You're about conservation, but you're about conservation of the resources, right? Did I get that right?
Kind of. So I'm definitely into you know, natural energy is what I'm definitely into.
Got it.
It's
Okay.
not that I'm totally opposed to all the, renewable. We just need to focus on the natural energy. But when I say conservation of the natural resources, I don't want Arizona to turn into California where every piece of it is overdeveloped, or New York, I like the ruralness of Arizona. And what I've seen is, they're pushing the limit. They're building so much. And of course we need
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't want it to be where, it turns into they have a saying. It says, don't California my Arizona. So that's the thing. We need
Ooh,
to
don't California my Arizona.
yeah,
Okay.
we need to
Okay.
protect the ruralness of Arizona. We need to protect the farmlands that are here, the natural resources, the mountains, everything. So we don't want it to be so overdeveloped, if that makes sense.
Got it. Okay. I see where you're going with that. So does
Mhm.
that include then natural gas, oil, nuclear power? What does that include in your view?
Well, Arizona currently has the largest nuclear facility here in Arizona. So definitely, I mean, we're all in for nuclear. We're all in for natural energy sources. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan of that. And even I know there's been talks of building micronuclear stations.
Yep.
I'm a fan of that as well because they
But
don't consider nuclear clean. I know there's that debate
Yep.
when it really is. I'm of the camp that it is on the cleaner side of energy. Definitely.
But I would think that people will be pushing you, right? And you tell me if I'm wrong here. Pushing you to do, look, it's Arizona. Christy, we got to do solar. What's wrong with you? Come on, it's Arizona. We got to do solar. Aren't you getting that push?
Well, it depends. When you say, am I getting it? As a conservative,
Yes.
no. As a conservative,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Conservatives are not in favor of a lot of the renewables because look at Texas. Texas went all in for windmills. And what happened, was it last year or the year before when there was the ice storm and, people died because it's unreliable energy. The solar energy, there's a lot of research there that the storage of them, right? Or if the sun doesn't, shine, which believe me, it happens, or at night, it becomes unreliable. There's a lot of problems with solar that the technology is not there yet to go all in for it. So right now they're really pushing net zero by 2030
Yes.
or 2050, depending on who you ask. And that's really part of, the World Economic Forum and trying to really kind of then box us into like these, 15-minute cities. So for that reason, no, we're not all in for renewables, not at the extent that they're trying to make us go.
I get it. That to me makes sense. I see where you're going with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're going to conserve natural resources, though, and the natural beauty, doesn't that kind of by default have some kind of fighting with the market, right? Because the corporation wants to come in and buy up all the land, right, and turn it into whatever, a wind farm or something, right? Aren't the corporation, and you're running for the corporation commission. So they're going to want to come in and say, hey, give me all the land. Here's some money. I want to turn it into whatever, a park, or not a park, amusement park, maybe, parking lot, maybe, whatever. Isn't that going to be a kind of a back and forth, a fight, a push and pull?
It definitely is. It definitely is. So I'll tell you, and this is not, so the Corporation Commission, the biggest thing they do is they regulate the utility companies, right? Because the utilities are a monopoly. So right now, I've been listening all day. There's a huge case with APS, which is one of our energy companies out here. 2 years ago, they had a rate hike. Prices have naturally been going up because of inflation. They're in front of the commission right now for a 9 to 13% rate hike. There's been 2,000 letters written to the commission, as well as 50 people speaking. I think they've been in hearing for about 6 hours. So I've been listening, a good chunk of the morning to this. People are upset. But also on the solar end of it, they're doing a surcharge on people that have solar. So even though I may not be a fan of solar, the question is, and I don't know all the ins and outs, I haven't, read all the paperwork, but is that fair to then have a rate charge on top of the solar? That's definitely one question that if I was on the board right now, I would definitely want to dig into and maybe be a little bit skeptical of, but who knows? Like I said, I haven't read all the briefs as to why they're charging them a fee on that. But that's one thing too.
Yeah.
These artificial barometers of, net zero by 2030, that's all ESG driven, right?
Yeah.
They're making these pledges. They know they're not going to be able to do it. There's no way that they're going to be able to, get rid of all the fossil fuels and go, net zero, but they still want to pledge allegiance to it. And there's a lot being done to lead us into a WEF agenda. Like right now, we have driverless cars here. Do you guys have those?
I don't think so here. No.
Oh, you would know. You would know.
No, we don't have any.
Literally, we have driverless cars. We have the world's first electric fire truck.
Oh, okay. We have some electric vehicles here. We do have some electric vehicles here in New York. We have like buses and such. We have some of those, but I don't think we have any driverless cars. I don't know of any of them.
Yeah, we have that here. And they just got permission to start going on the freeway, to testing to go on the freeway.
But isn't that Good thing. All right. It's this is the future, right? This is growth, right? Isn't that a good thing? No?
It's like something I remember on the Jetsons. Like every time I see one of these cars, I get freaked out and I think about the Jetsons. So yeah, no, in my opinion, it's not a good thing.
So let me touch a couple of these things. The first one I want to bring up is the things you mentioned, you could deal with if you wanted to as governor, as a state assembly person, as a state senator. You could take it to national, Congress. Why run for this office?
Well, right now, elections have consequences, right? So we have Katie Hobbs, who is the veto queen, right?
Mhm.
So she has vetoed, I think she set the record for vetoing the most bills ever. So
Wow.
it doesn't make sense for if I'm strongly against ESG and I want it to be a rule to be placed that it cannot exist within the utility companies. Right now, there's I guess, a debate whether it should be done at the corporation commission level or whether it should be done at the legislature, right?
Okay.
Now, ideally, yeah, make a rule and then, that would be it. But if they do, Katie Hobbs will veto it.
Got
So
it.
it's kind of like if I want to fight it, then this is the logical place to fight it right now. And
So again,
there's
go ahead.
openings. There's 3 spots available.
So let me move to the next piece if I could. You have many things you believe in clearly. You're a principled person, you care about many things. Why is ESG so important to you? Of all the things you could be looking at, why that?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you know, but I debated Vivek Ramaswamy.
Oh, I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, so I debated
Okay.
him early last year, and so I just really, went down the rabbit hole because he wrote the book Woke Inc. So
Yes.
that got me going down the rabbit hole of studying ESG, and then I also kind of dived into some political writing, and I started, the World Economic Forum and Agenda 2030, and really seeing how they are trying to change our way of life. I mean, it's not just that they're trying to take away gas stoves
We got
or
to eat the bugs. They
oh
told
my
us
god,
that.
they
We
are
got to eat the bugs.
fundamentally and I don't think people know, like, how widespread and systematic Agenda 2030 is and how cities have pledged to it. Phoenix is an Agenda 2030 city. So they have totally
Oh,
pledged and they're totally taking steps, um, yeah, to be a WEF city. So
wow.
that is why I feel so passionately about it. It's really, and then too, after COVID, no one wants to be locked down. And the whole premise of the 15-minute cities is everything you need is going to be within a 15-mile radius. So you don't need your car. It's the
Right.
you'll own nothing and you'll love it. Well,
You'll
I
only
like my
be
car
happy and
and
you eat the bugs. I never forget eat the bugs. That's always in my head. We got to eat the bugs now. I don't want to
right.
eat the bugs. I mean,
I
if I don't
don't
have to have a car, just don't make me eat the bugs. That's
see you're a New Yorker. You're a New
I'm a New
Yorker.
Yorker. I
I'm
don't
a
need a
West
car.
Coast girl. I need my
Right.
car.
That's right. I'm okay if I don't have a car, but I don't want to eat the bugs. That's my
Right.
thing. But I get it. So that's a big push. So is this your first foray into politics?
As far as running for office, yes. So I've
So
worked
how
on
did you debate Vivek?
what do you mean how? Oh, just talking on Twitter. So I'm very outspoken on Twitter. When
Hmm.
he first came onto the scene, I don't know if you remember, but there was a little dust up because
Yep.
the way he was saying certain things,
I remember.
I didn't agree with. And so I
Yep.
just started calling him out on Twitter and he literally answered and it was him. And I found out later it was his wife that was like, you need to talk to this girl. She seems really sincere. And so I ended up flying up to, I forget where he was at the time, but we sat down, we had a debate, and he actually changed some of the ways that he talked about issues. For instance, instead of just focusing on, Black fathers, there's a problem across the board with fathers. So I saw
That's
him do
true.
that. And then I
Yep.
also helped him and Kathy Barnett go to Chicago because my thing
Wow.
is, I didn't have a problem that he was speaking about Black issues as long as he kind of, changed some of the figures that he had wrong. But I also told him, talk to Black people, and he
Right.
was like, well, I don't know if we could fill a room. And I was like, well, you could fill a table or better yet, go to a barber shop. So that's how that all came about with him going to the barbershop.
I
And
have to tell you that piece, right? That really, and I think about it all the time. You know this, the audience may not, but I know you know this. The Black community is so ignored because the Democrats assume we're going to vote for them and the Republicans assume we're not going to vote for them. So they just ignore us because they just go, if I'm a Republican, they're not going to vote for me, so I don't care. I'm a Democrat, they're going to vote for me, so I don't care. And that if Republicans had any decent outreach, and then I think Republicans are getting better. I think that's true. They're getting better, but they have not moved to the level of outreach that's required to actually draw the Black community in. They do it with the Hispanic community. Hispanic community absolutely shifts between Democrat, Republican, depending on the outreach they get. Not so much Republican Party. I know they are getting better,
right.
but they've been struggling for decades. I think you're right on that. That's probably
Yeah.
why Ramaswamy didn't know, because there was no one around him to tell him how to do it.
No, and
So
the most powerful thing about that whole experience is we had the town hall, and everyone was like, well, what are you going to do about this, and what are you going to do about this, which was what he was there for. And he didn't answer them any different than he did when he was in the white church. But I was at the back of the room, and there were about 5 young guys that were at the back of the room, and they were just murmuring and talking under their breath, very young, you could tell, just urban guys. And I started to talk to them, and so they went up to the front and got a mic, and they were like, you're here pressing homie about what he's gonna do, but y'all see us every day. What have you guys done for us? Matter of fact, you saw us walking down the street and nobody invited us in this room. Tyrone had to come and get us and come in the, so that was really powerful. And that just stood out, those young men.
That is amazing. Let me talk to my audience for a second. Guys, if you like what you're seeing, and do me a favor, click that like button. I tell you all the time, I got to get past rhythm. I need to get past the algorithms. I get past them. So please help me with that by clicking that like button. Also, if you're watching on Twitter or X, repost this, retweet this right now. It does matter. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe if you want to. Click that bell for notifications so you actually will be able to know when people are going to be on. If you want to, you can also super chat me if you want to support the show. You can even become a member if you like, because you love me that much. Click that join button. You can become a member even better if you want to. But no matter what you do me one small favor. She has come. Christy has come to give us attention. Please follow her on Twitter. It's Kelly for Humanity on Twitter. Also, I put her website is actually on the show description on both YouTube and Facebook. So follow what she's doing, see what she's doing, and help her out to the best of your ability. So let me head back if I could, Christy.
Okay.
You're working against this ESG. I feel like right now the tide is against you. I think most cities in America are rushing full bore towards being, as you said, WEF or WEF cities.
Yep.
I think they're rushing as fast as they can. I think you're running against the tide. So let's assume you win, and I hope you do. You win. How are you going to fight every mayor who's going to be like, you're crazy. We got to eat the bugs. What's wrong with you, right? You're obviously a bad person, Christy. You're selfish and you're mean. You don't want to do the windmills or whatever, or the solar plant or whatever is the thing of the day. How do you get past that? Or am I even wrong? Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong. The good thing is right now the makeup of the board is Republican dominated. So there are 3 open seats. There are 2 that are on there now are Republican. There's 4-1. So it's been Republican dominated for a while. So really, we just need to elect 3 strong conservatives, hopefully constitutional conservatives, so that they know that this can be done through the Arizona Constitution. And then I think if you go back to my background in mediation arbitration, that's where that negotiation skills will come in. That's where being a mediator will come in, because I'm not a flamethrower. So I'm not the person. I am very principled, and I am very stick to my guns. I'm also what I say I mean, right? I don't make empty promises, but I'm also not a flamethrower. I know how to, reason with people. And if you go back and watch the Vivek podcast, you'll know what I mean.
So let me then bring on a couple of things that may be a bit more controversial.
Sure.
Right. What are you an establishment person? Because we do know that in the Republican Party now, there's a battle. Democrats too, right? But there is a battle in the Republican Party, establishment versus non-establishment. That there's a battle now. How do you navigate that? Not being one of the cool kids, right? You're not one of the cool kids with the cool people, right? In the establishment. How do you get past that? Or does that not matter in this case? All I know is I know a lot of people who want to make a change in their party right now who constantly get boxed out either through money or through press or through taking your consultants or something. Is that happening to you?
Well, I don't know. I think we're going to have to see on that one. But
Okay.
I'm definitely an America First
Okay.
conservative. I'm definitely nowhere near establishment.
Okay.
But I don't know if the cool kids in Arizona are
Okay.
the establishment. I think it's I don't know.
I know in New
I don't
York
want to.
they are.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I would say we're pretty heavy America First here, but then I think that goes back to being the flamethrower. I know how to work with everyone, right? So I always say I was a walk away. I don't know if you remember, but I was a walk away.
I remember. Yeah.
And it was a process because when I really sat down and examined my values, I was never Democratic. I was never libertarian. I was always conservative. Like I
Yep.
believe in, closed borders and, shut them, lock
Yes.
them, send them back. I'm I'm very
Yes.
conservative. And so I finally, I'm here, America First conservative, but I also have friends everywhere of, libertarians still, the ones that will
I'm
talk
sure
to me.
there's friends in your people in your family who are voting Democrat still. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
the ones I mean, I lost a lot of friends. There's a lot of people that don't talk to me. There's, my Facebook is whisper quiet. I think they have me shadow banned on Facebook anyways, but
Yes.
um I know how to
Yeah.
work with people of
Well, the reason
all
why I
types.
brought up is because I do think that I'd like my audience to see people who don't fit a stereotype,
Mhm.
right? And I think that today you are finding some black men by percentage still walking away, but not as many black women are walking away. A lot of black women are still staying in the Democratic Party compared to men. But the other thing I think you're seeing is a lot more people in the black community, period, are walking away by percentage. Still,
Yes.
most black people still do vote Democratic. That's true. But you
Mhm.
are seeing more begin to either what I'm worried about, which is what you brought up earlier. I'm worried about people just checking out, right? Just going, I'm done. I'm not going to bother. I don't care who runs. I don't care. I'm just going to go. None of it matters. That's my bigger worry, not taking charge.
I agree with you. I mean, they're definitely walking away. They're definitely saying that they're going to vote for Trump because their interest is economic. They are not becoming registered Republicans. They
Correct.
are
Yes.
not going to vote up and down the ballot Republican. I mean,
Right.
we're going to have to do some outreach. We're going to have to outreach to them. We're going to have to tell them, hey, voting your values, and this is why you should vote your values because, XYZ. But we're going to have to do some of that work. And I wanted to also make a disclaimer. I am America First, conservative, but I'm not of the camp of being colorblind, right? So I haven't walked that far, Larry, to
Okay.
abandoning who I am, and.
Sure. No, I completely get it. And I think the one of the hardest parts is people will judge you by looking at you, right? And go, okay, I know who Christy is. Why? I look at her and I know. And I
Right.
like that they're going to be wrong. I like that. They're going to be wrong. They're going to think they know you and go, oh wait, she said that? Oh wait, no. That's not the rules. She's breaking the rules. How could you do that? So, yes. But I guess the other part is, and this is a more of a personal part, you run this race, you lose, you don't make it. It doesn't work, right? You
Mhm.
just go back to making money as an entrepreneur. What happens next if things don't go well?
Well, that's a good segue because most people who are in a state race do it a year in advance. I
Yep.
hopped in November, mainly
Mhm.
because I looked at the landscape. There are 3 Republicans running, but no one is speaking about ESG. And so I was like, okay, no one has this burning desire of, fixing the problem and being aggressive with it. So I jumped in. So I am behind on talk about winning. I'm at risk of not making the ballot. So if you do have any Arizona people, I need you to go to my website, christykelly.org. And you can actually sign for me online if you're in Arizona to be
Here
on
we
the ballot.
go.
So I need total 7,027 signatures. And I'm already sitting at about 5. So I need about 2,500 more for the statutory number. So
Wow.
I've made a dent. I've made a great dent, but I only have a month to make the ballot left.
So 1 month. So for those of you listening in Arizona, if you want to help out, what is your website again?
It's christykelly.org.
There we go. And that is actually in the Facebook and also on the YouTube page. So check that out. Go there. Help her out if you can. Look, I don't know if everyone watching is conservative. Most of them aren't. Most of my audience is libertarian. Some are conservative, but most are libertarian. And some are conservatarians. So some are. So for those of you who live in Arizona, and I do have some people in Arizona, you want to help out Christy. I know you want her to be on the ballot because ballot access is important. Even if you would or would vote for her, no worries. But she has the right to be on the ballot. She is a good choice for people to have. Please support her on the ballot if you happen to be in Arizona. You're not signing anybody else's petition, so don't give me that lie. You're not. Go sign her petition.
They can be independents or Republicans. They can't be registered libertarians, but independents or, which I know it's very small. But
yes.
A lot of them are independents. You can absolutely sign for me. Yes.
Yep. So there we go. Please do that. Getting her on the ballot does matter either way. I don't know if you support her or not, but either way, getting on the ballot is the most important thing. Please do that if you can. So if you don't make it, is this like, I mean, if you're sitting here bugging Vivek, I mean, maybe you gotta shut up being some kind of cool consultant or something. Like maybe that's a thing for you, or I don't know. Or do you run again? Like, do you run for something else later, or what's the future?
I definitely, if I don't make it this time, I'm definitely invested and will run again in 2 years because that's when, the next cycle will be when there'll be an opening spot. Depending on if the two guys, run again or how politics is, it just depends. But 2 years, I definitely will be looking at this seat again. That's for sure. And then definitely something else in politics. I mean, I started doing a little bit of political writing before this. So I wouldn't be opposed to just going back to that. Matter of fact, some days I'm like, oh, I should have just stuck with writing, right?
Yeah,
but
maybe.
No. I do like political writing or like, podcasting and, talking about politics as well, too.
It's kind of what I do a lot of. So yes, I agree completely.
Are you going to run again?
I will be running again. Yes. They can't get rid of me yet. They can't get rid of me. They can't get rid of me. I'm still good. I'm not done. Awesome. Jean says ballot access is the new form of voter suppression. I think she's right. People don't realize that, right? But ballot access is a critical piece. It's a way they keep a lot of people off the ballot. You spend a lot of time and energy just getting on the ballot, and then you don't have time to do the work to get elected. It can be a pain, and it can absorb you. It can absorb a campaign to where that's all they do. Yeah. And then what else can you do? Absolutely true. Michael says, would you consider a higher office? It seems you follow the issues quite well. Would you consider like trying to go for whatever the next step is, or are you like, this is where I want to be?
I have been approached this month, I kid you not, no less than 5 times. I won't say what office, but to run for a different office. And I've been approached with help and assistance. And my thing is like, well, if you're going to do it for that office, do it for this one, right? Matter of fact, go to my website and donate. I mean, any amount will help because I am crisscrossing the state. I am up and down the state. I'm committed to this race. I'm committed to this office now.
Yes. Yes.
I look at the Senate, even the state Senate, and it just seems like such a bottleneck, right? It seems like this is something, and no one pays attention. That's the other thing. Corporations.
Well, let me give you some inside info, which you may or may not know.
Okay.
Very often, they ask you to run for something else to put you in the box. In other words, the Republicans in my state ask me to run all the time. Like every year, they're asking me, why don't you run for this, run for that? So I can do nothing? So I can have no impact?
Exactly.
So I can be shut up? It's basically a bribe.
Gotcha.
So they might be afraid that you might actually make some impact. So I don't want her doing this because I got my establishment cronies that I like where they are. I don't know your world. I'm saying that could be an issue. So let me get her to go over and do this. And if she wins, now she's one of like 50.
That makes sense.
So she isn't that powerful anymore. If she gets out in the way, I can ignore her. Maybe I can throw her some cash. Now she owes me because I helped to get her elected. Now she's going to need me again. The next time she messes with me, I'm going to now get her. I'm going to primary her. I won't back her. I'll back her opponent. That kind of stuff happens all the time. I don't know your world, but that's a common issue. So
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes. So they think, wait a minute. She might be really independent. She might, if I can't control her, I will buy her. Right?
That makes sense.
Happens often. David brings it up. David says, the main reason the three Republicans don't talk about ESG is because 90% of Republicans are actually aligned with the Democratic establishment. And what I would say is, establishment Republicans, that's true, but not all. And that's why I was asking about your world. If you're stuck, where I am in New York City, almost all the Republicans are establishment Republicans. Almost all of them are. So that's where I am. But that's not true in every state. So I don't know Arizona politics very well. That's why I asked that question. If they're establishment Republicans, David is correct. If they're not, he may not be.
Well, you know what? I think what I am noticing lately, and I'm trying to tread a fine line here, but what I am noticing is the America First hashtag has fallen off of a lot of people.
There we go.
I've even been told when you go some places, maybe you want to talk a little different. I don't. I have my same stump speech and I say the same thing. I take questions and I answer things a little different depending on, the specific town or the area. But who I am is who I am, right?
Yep. So they might be trying to get you to go someplace else. I'm just saying they might. Yeah. Right? If you're in a commission with what, 5 people total, is that right? 5 total, and you're a mediator, you're way more powerful than if you're in whatever the state senate is. And how many senators does, I don't know how many state senators Arizona has, but whatever that number is, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Now you're one of X hundred or whatever the number is. You're not that powerful anymore, right? Not that powerful anymore. Put you into the Congress, you got no power.
I think the thing too is this office flies under the radar. Even people who have lived here forever is like, what is the Corporation Commission? And it's a state office. It's a powerful office. And no one knows what it does. Or if they have heard of it, they kind of still don't quite know. And so what I've done by being very vocal on Twitter and elsewhere is just shone a bright light on it.
Yes.
And I also don't think people like that as well.
Let me give you another little piece of insight. A lot of those state offices no one knows about, they're often gifted, right? They're often gifted. So I'm the governor or I'm the senator or whatever, and someone supports my campaign with a bunch of money or with a bunch of gifts or something. Well, now I got to pay him back. I can't just write him a check. So I go, run for this office. No one else is running. And they run and they win. So I gave them an office, right? So now if you're someone who is, say, as an example, a business consultant, or you're someone who is, say, lobbying for business, having that position is an amazing position to have. So you're more than happy to throw my campaign a bunch of money as long as I let you win this position. The problem is you're trying to actually make change. That might get in their way.
I think so.
Yes. And like, wait a minute. No, this is my gift to my donors and to my cronies. And now here comes this Christy woman. I'm not happy about that. So again, I don't mean to be cynical. That's not my goal. No, I'm just saying I have seen it done here in New York, Pennsylvania too. Oh my God, Pennsylvania also. I've seen it done in many places. They gift these. Some of them they don't even vote for, by the way. People don't know this. If no one runs for it, the senior person just gives it. They appoint somebody. So it's literally a gift. I don't know if that's how it works in your state, but there are parts of New York and Pennsylvania, I know personally, that if no one runs, then the governor goes, okay, you're it. That's in the law. So he now rewards his friends with positions of power. It's a legal way of doing it. It is crazy. So Alice agrees with you. She says, I don't vote all the way down the line if I don't care for their ordeals.
Ideas.
I think ideas is what you meant. Ideas, they don't get my vote. I wish more people did that. I wish more people were doing exactly that and going, look, I respect this one, but not this one. I like this one, but not this one. I like this one and not this one. But I think your point's valid. A lot of people just go, oh, I'm blue team, I'm red team.
And I think it's tough too, because during the primaries, people don't really pay attention. Like people
Right.
aren't really tuned in. And this is where you need to be tuned in to make sure everyone possible gets on the ballot, or at least the
Right.
people that you've researched get on the ballot. Because if I don't get on the ballot, then, and I'm the only one is as passionate as ESG,
Yes.
then you're going to have, you're going to be missing out.
Well, that's the point that I always want to bring up, right? When you have anyone who's not establishment on the debate stage or in the conversation or online, even hooping and hollering, at least now you can decide if it matters to you. I mean, maybe you think eating the bugs is good. Okay, well, at least you get it and you're like, I'll eat the bugs, I'm fine. At least you have made an educated vote. I don't know why you would do that, but okay. Versus, I'm voting for the bugs. I didn't know that. That's a problem, right? I don't want to vote for the bugs if I don't know. I want to make that choice or not. I think your point's a very valid one. The more people we have doing that, we can now have informed consent, which is what we're supposed to be about, is informed consent.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Let me talk to my audience for a second. Again, guys, if you like this, please do me a favor, click the like button right now. It is important. Click that button. I ask you to share on Twitter. Please do so. Subscribe if you are on YouTube. Also very important. You can super chat me if you'd like to support the show. But either way, no matter what you do, please follow Christy at Kelly for Humanity on Twitter. You can also check out her website. It's actually in the description on both Facebook and YouTube. So did I miss anything, Christy? What should we talk about that I missed? Or did I do an okay job?
I do have 2 campaign events that I have to run off to, but I did just want to tell you, thank you. Sorry it took so long for me to get on. Arizona is a big state. You wouldn't think it is as big as it is, but it's big and I've been everywhere. But yeah, ChristyKelly.org is my website. You can go there, you can donate. Every little bit helps me travel the state, get my message out. And I definitely look forward to coming back, let you know how this race ended up, if I got on the ballot, and what's next. That's for sure.
There we go. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching this evening. I appreciate it. Do me one favor. Once this show is finished, do me a favor. Head back to YouTube or Facebook, wherever you watched it, and put a comment. Put a comment after the show's over. The Al Gore rhythms. Love it. So please do that if you would. I appreciate it. I will see you all